listen, give Greta a lot of credit. She's got a lot of guts. She has to know she's putting herself in harm's way. Like, this is a very, very dangerous trip that she's on right now. And even if it is to prove a point, it's a point that needs to be made.
Tell us why you're taking this journey, extremely dangerous, and how you're planning to challenge the Israeli blockade.
We cannot afford to give up. There is simply too much at stake. And in times of injustice, as we are seeing now, the genocide and blockade happening, we have to do everything we can to demand an end to these atrocities and war crimes committed by Israel. And for me personally, I happen to have a platform for some reason, and then it is my moral obligation to use that platform. And if my presence on this boat can make a difference, if that can show in any way that the world has not forgotten about Palestine, and to try once again to attempt to break the siege and open up the humanitarian corridor and deliver the extremely needed humanitarian aid, then that is a risk I'm willing to take, and it's something that we just simply have to do. We cannot just sit around and do nothing and watch this live stream genocide unfold in front of our very eyes. So we are doing this because we are human beings who care about justice. And when our complicit governments fail to step up, it falls on us, unfortunately, to do so.
I mean, you want to talk about a perfect close? When our governments fail to do anything, we the people have to step up and do something. And that's what she's doing. Even in the face of Senator Lindsey Graham saying that, I hope she knows how to swim. Could you
that fucking Barstool guy who was just like, hope she dies.
Oh, believe me, we're not done yet. We're going to get to Dave Portnoy in a minute. Right. Can you imagine, because you saw what they did to Glenn Greenwald.
I did, yeah.
Could you imagine what they have on Lindsey Graham? Could you imagine what's in his closet?
Oh, imagine, things that he would not want to be revealed to the public. I mean, it's like an open secret, I believe, among members of Congress, but yeah.
We always manage to give a shout out. And Israelis wonder why people hate their guts. Like, you guys make it so easy. You're just such inhuman slime. Like, I have no other way of explaining it. So she's autistic. What the fuck does that mean? You say it like it's an insult. Let me tell you something. Greta Thunberg, she's got real guts, kid. You know what you have? You have an iron dome protecting your pussy ass. That's what you have. I'm sorry you don't, and I'm sure you don't like hearing that, and I don't like to have to say it. But here's the thing, pal. Do not pick on people who can't defend themselves, because I can defend myself. And you wouldn't talk like that to me. Give a shout out to our good friend, Medea Benjamin over at CodePink, who did not mince words when it came to Senator Lindsey Graham threatening the life of Greta Thunberg.
We just visited Lindsey Graham's office and told him how upset we were about him threatening Greta Thunberg and the Madeline ship that's trying to bring food and medicines to Gaza. They called the police. The police kicked us out of there. Now they're telling us we can't even hold up a sign. But we're here to show our support for the Madeline ship, for the Freedom Flotilla, for the people of Gaza. And we're going around to the senators to say, put out a statement saying that Israel should not attack the ship. Let the ship get to Gaza, deliver its aid. Free Gaza.
I'm here because I read a tweet that he made this week concerning a small boat as part of the Freedom Flotilla.
Now, I would ask you, Amy, what would possess somebody like Lindsey Graham to write a tweet like that? would you think that that was all done on his own, or do you think somebody suggested that maybe he should put that out there?
I think that Lindsey Graham hates himself because he has to live every day of his life as a closeted man, and this is the way that he projects his hatred of himself onto the rest of the world. So I do think part of me believes that he does get some satisfaction from being this kind of a piece of shit. Truly. But I don't know, maybe somebody does have like some dirt on him and is threatening to reveal that information to the public if he doesn't, take a firm stand using similar genocidal coded language as Israelis do openly to wish death upon this young woman who has been one of the most central figures when it comes to speaking out and acting against the powers that be that's killing the planet, or in the case of Palestine, committing a genocide. And you have to give Greta that credit. It's not just because she is autistic. She might not see the same or have the same, she might not have the same appreciation or honor or respect the hierarchy that a lot of autistics don't tend to honor or respect. But that doesn't mean that what she has done isn't, sort of just incredibly brave and incredibly powerful. She has let her voice be known for a while now. Even when she was a child, she was on the right side of history, and she continues to be on the right side of history. So
I definitely agree. And I think regardless of whether people like, I equate it this way. You don't have to like Greta Thunberg. You could say that, you didn't like her with the, environmental marches and stuff. And some people felt that there was hypocrisy related to that. But I look at it as something as simple as somebody like Jimmy Dore. Jimmy is somebody that we have very strong disagreements with. And there's a lot to his shtick that I do not agree with. But you know what? Jimmy, from day one, has been right in defense of the Palestinian people. And he uses his million-plus platform to come to their defense. The same is true of Candace Owens. And these are people that we can have very strong political, economic, and social disagreements with. But you know what? On maybe the most significant issue of our lifetime, they have been right basically from day one. And that is where you have to put differences aside and unite around a common cause if you're going to shock the world and make the substantial infrastructural change that is needed, not just for the Palestinian people, but for humanity overall, period.
Us trying to take humanitarian aid into Gaza. That's a mission that I trained for last year and was foiled by the pulling of the flags from our ships last year. I'm not on that flotilla this year because the boat is so small and there wasn't room. But he made a comment that he hopes that this 22-year-old activist, Greta Thunberg, who's just trying to break the siege of the starving people in Gaza, hoping she could swim. Now, I'm hoping he's kidding in some way, but the implication is that he expects the boat to sink. The last boat that tried to go was bombed by an Israeli drone. Does he want her to drown?
Every flotilla has been bombed, I think. Or has been... Every flotilla has been shot at or has experienced some hostility from the Israeli military. Like, no flotilla has ever safely entered, these waters outside of Gaza. Usually there's some sort of pushback, or sometimes they just shoot it and capsize it and everybody dies. So,
well, that's, like I said, what makes this particular moment so significant is if they do this and essentially Greta becomes martyred, it's going to cause an international incident. Like, that's what's going to happen. And the fact that she's prepared to lay down her life for this, I mean, I already think Israel's past the point of no return, but if they do martyr Greta Thunberg, they will have reached the point of no return. they'll never recover from it, and it will accelerate their demise as a state as quickly as possible. So I don't want that to happen to Greta, but if it does happen, we must use all of our strength to continue to break the spirit and the will of the Zionist state. That is our job. It's our job now. It'll become an even bigger job if something devastatingly bad happens to this boat.
Swimmer, if I was on that boat, my question for the senator, does he want me drowned just because I'm trying to bring humanitarian aid into Gaza?
Yes, he does.
When I begged the Senate and the Congress and the President to send the proper aid there to prevent this humanitarian consequence.
This is an unarmed humanitarian boat that's trying to get to Gaza to bring food and
I got a
medicine.
different position.
And
What was that, Em?
I hate to be a Deborah Downer. I have a different position on this. I think that Israel is willing to wager that they can straight up murder Greta, and very little will change. It's not going to change Donald Trump's position. It's not necessarily going to change to people who are currently on the fence as to whether or not they should start considering what Israel's doing in Gaza to be a genocide or not. I just think it's going to piss off the people who are already pissed the fuck off. But I hope I'm wrong.
I think you are, because I think you look at the people that have found their way into the fray that otherwise would never be involved in politics. You have somebody like Miss Rachel, who never gets involved in politics, and now for her, it's like a crusade. So I agree with you, because Israel has been able to escape it forever, but maybe this is the time where they finally went too far.